over testing, a combination of two kind of organoids together. Then after we discover there are chromosomes that we can define human being sex. So we discover a 46XX and 46XY as the female and the male. But not long after, we discovered there are variation, so many different kind of variation of, chromosome. So there are people who has XY and with extra X. So there are people who have, 47XXY. I also have part of, extra X. My chromosome is mainly XX, but I have some cell shows that I have extra X. So do you know that? I am a kind of so-called superwoman, but because I have triple X, so I am kind of superwoman, right? And but it's very weird because I am superwoman, but I have more, I am more masculine than than woman, than normal woman, and because I discovered I have 5 types of testosterone than general woman. So that's how I become looks like this. Yeah, I didn't have breast developing. I have no menstruation. So this is me. I don't know. I haven't find another superwoman yet. I have to. I have to find it if the another one is like me. Okay, this is interesting, right? And also, so now we know. Okay, the way we define sex include genital, right? Internal, external, and gonads, right? And chromosome and hormone, right? And all of these actually, it is so many kind of variation. So what kind of what does it mean? What does it mean that intersex people? The intersex people are just have different kind of variation about these elements. For now, that we define sex, that is different from typical definition of male and female. So actually, people are very human beings are very diverse biologically. This is how abundance we are. Yeah.
So on that note, on that answer, the response from you, I wanted to know how does intersex and asexuality intersect?
Okay. I'm not expert of asexuality, but I think for us, yeah, people may have some kind of imagination about the sexuality of intersex people. Some people think that we are super sexual. that it means that some people think intersex people must have very powerful sexual energy because we have both. But in reality, it's not like that. Most of people are infertile, and most people may be, because we have atypical, so-called atypical, okay, sex organ. For example, like there are people maybe do not have vagina, or have very short vagina, or have tight micro penis, because these are atypical, right? Atypical everything. Yeah, so it actually makes us not easy to have confident to have sex with others. But the intersex people, actually, I think we have, we are like everybody else. We also have, different gender identity, because we identify with, male and female, and there are people identify as non-binary. Actually, in my understanding, most people actually still identify themselves as male or female, because in their mind and education, they are brainwashed, right? Like everyone else, right? Like they are only male and female, and everyone want to be normal, right? So most people still identify themselves as male and female. And we're looking forward to have so-called normal sexual relationship, but but when our all equipment, our sexual equipment is atypical. Sometimes it makes us not no competent to have sexual relationship with other. But and actually there are people who do have very low both testosterone and estrogen. So people like this, they naturally do not have very high sexual desire. And but other than that, people still feel need to be loved, right? We need to love and to be loved. So it's not related with the hormone only, right? Because for typical people, hormone maybe play a very important role, for the sex attraction, right? For us, it's all the elements that are different from others. So for us, yeah, there are also people who are asexual in our group. I think a lot. Some of them are forced to because they have no confidence and they don't have so-called typical sexual organ to fit in to other people's imagination or our own imagination. But actually in reality, sexual organ are also a spectrum. No one has the same sexual organ. It's just an imagination that people have the same same sexual organ. It's imagination because this is also a spectrum. Everything is a spectrum, biologically. So even so, asexual people, I think it is a kind of orientation, right? So orientation also is a spectrum. It varies a lot, and sometimes it actually happen in different stage of our age, right? Different time we feel different. Yeah. So, but for intersex people, we sometimes we will be seen as super, sexually, sometimes we will be seen we will be seen asexual totally, but actually it's not it's not absolutely, right? Some people like this, some people like that. We do have people who are super sexual as well. I also know people like that. Yeah, so it's something like that. But most of us, I think because we have atypical sexual equipment, compared to other, so it makes us kind of make ourselves become asexual. Yeah, I think this is one issue. But because people have lack of a capacity to explore each other's, including your characteristic, your body, specifically for the person in front of you. We always think, we always use set stereotype to, friend people. Then always, I should have this capacity. You should have this capacity. Then it makes, and actually, it's all imagination. It's not reality. So it creates many difficulty for our our people in sexuality issue. That's my perspective. Very simple, very naive one.
So I wanted to ask you, because there is always, with respect to asexual people, people who identify as A's, what they are often invisibilized, as in they are asked questions regarding why is this something wrong with you? Is something wrong with yeah, it's always been like that. There is always this misconception that asexual people are often, there is something wrong. And when it comes to intersex people, it's often assumed that they have to be asexual. So do you see that there's a misconception happening here?
Yeah, I think modern time, I think it is a time that emphasizes sexual capacity, right? Or exaggerate the importance to have super sexual capacity. Well, so it becomes a huge pleasure to people because you can see all kinds of sexual activity or issue, from the media. And so everyone assumed that we should have, good, or a very good in the sexual capacity, so we can attract other people, and we can attract, we can have love, but I think this is something very bad. Yeah, this is wrong. Yeah, so I think this is one issue, but in the past, or in Chinese society, maybe in India as well, because in our society we value family, right? So we value that to have children, right? So if you couldn't have children, then you will be seeing it kind of useless. And maybe in India as well, when you kind of beyond 27, and you are still single, then people feel, are there something wrong with you? you know right? And people, if we in China, people face this pressure very huge. Even the intersex people as well, because intersex people always hide, right? Hide their identity. Some, I think most of them maybe have quite understand. They don't quite understand about what happened to them. They just know something wrong, but they just don't know, and so many people dare not to explore it, and no one can be no one can talk to. Yeah, it's because one is about sex issue, right? And also, like, it's about um, discrimination, because people, we are living in a society who are so afraid to be different, or who are so afraid to, you know to to be different with others. Yeah, and people and people, if you are different people, most people still want to play as a normal person. Even though actually you are not normal in some way. You're trying to be as normal as possible. And asexual, I think, is something that people couldn't understand, because we value, the reproduction capacity to generate new generation, right? And to have super sex capacity to attract, people, yeah, to attract people, to love you. I think the core issue is that we need love, and and we need to be loved. Yeah, but when we are different, and we are so afraid that people do not know love how to love us, I think. Yeah, I think for asexual people, if you are a kind of person that actually only have little interest to having sex relationship with your partner, you may feel, sometimes you feel guilty, right? Because it kind of like it happened, this idea happened a lot in intersex people's mind. Intersex people will feel that it's not fair if I marry someone who are normal person, and we assume that many intersex people assume that this normal person needs a lot of sex, a lot of good sex, and I cannot provide it. So it's not fair to them. So that's, prevent so many intersex people to force themselves to become asexual, to live alone. But actually, intersex people are so afraid to live alone. Most of them, not me. I'm happily living alone. But most people are so afraid to, like, or to grow all alone by themselves without anyone to talk to, and to love, and to be loved. I think this is so general in our community.
Wow, you mentioned Chinese community not having an idea about intersex community, intersex people. So how did you then come across, like, what was your journey? How did you come to know that you are intersex person? And how did you then move on to accepting it or coming out to the world? What was your journey like?
Okay. um, I was actually, I don't know how do you feel my gender is. You know, I was raised as a girl, yeah, and I was born with so-called ambiguous genital, but I didn't know that until I was 42 years old, because I had a surgery without my consent when I was 6. And the surgery was to remove my enlarged clitoris. Okay, so clitoris can be bigger, can be big, and looks like a little penis. Yeah. In the medical protocol, if a baby, if you are identified as a female baby, and if your clitoris is longer than 0.5 centimeter, then the doctor think it's too long. You should be removed because the girl shouldn't have such a long clitoris. Yeah, and also, in the past, if it's not going to the doctor, this kind of baby will be raised as a boy, because you kind of like a baby with a dick, right? Yeah, but I was maybe my clitoris is not too big, so I still got female birth certificate, but I still keep my enlarged clitoris until 6 years old, because my father kept my medical record when I was 6. So I discovered that later, because my medical record was in English, English handwriting. So I cannot read it. I cannot understand it, even though when I hit my puberty, actually my puberty didn't come because I didn't develop breasts. No menstruation still now, until now, which is very lucky, right? And but it was frightened for me, for at that time, because I was different, totally different from my classmate, right? Because I went to a girls' school, no one likes me, right? So I just feel confused, and I just have no idea if I'm a woman or not. Yeah, I feel very I don't know, kind of anxious. So I asked my father to take me to the hospital, doctors, and I have some injections for, I think, so for some months, but nothing happened. So no breast, no menstruation, nothing, and no growth taller. Actually, what I want is growth taller, because I'm only 144 centimeter, very short. So but so what can doctors do? He has no idea. So does my father, right? So my father just gave me the medical record, but I couldn't understand it, right? I just discovered a word, hermaphrodites, and I checked it on the dictionary, and it was horrified, because for me it's like looks like, a monster, a monster. So I just, okay, my god, oh my god, oh, and I'm a monster. I just feel like that. So it was too terrified to keep it. So I just don't want to touch it anymore. Yeah. And I know that, it impacts me a lot, because I know that I may not have a baby, because I have no menstruation, right? So, and can I be loved? I don't know, who, because in our mind, brainwash, everyone had to grow up and get married to a man, right, or a girl, right? And but who is going to marry a girl who cannot have a child? Then it's a problem, right? It's a big problem. So I just dare not to think about it. It's too difficult for me. So I don't want to learn any more about it until 42 years old, because at the time I have a 10 years of relationship. Broke up with my ex-girlfriend. Yeah, I had an ex-girlfriend, so I had a lesbian relationship, so-called. I don't know if I can say that we are same-sex, because I'm interested. She's female. I'm not sure if it's heterosexual or homosexual, but I identify as homosexual at that time. Yeah. And but he broke up with me. The reason is, hey, you are too much like a man. And he just hit me, hit the button. hit the button that I had in my mind for a long time. Yeah. So this, miserably, miserable experience actually gave me power, strength to face my own issue. And at the time, I did, I there's the movie called XXY, and it was an intersex movie, and I was informed to watch it, and I just discovered there are people like me, in the world. I never think of that before. So I started to, so I then I discovered the word intersex. I never had this word in my mind before. So I check it, and at that time, 2000, I think it's 2008, there was already Google. So I Google intersex, and I discovered ORI, Organization Intersex International, and I contact with them and started to read those stories from them. Oh, because, okay, I was super happy because there's so many people like me in the world, and I'm not alone, and it's kind of feel of power, and so I started to think about, okay, I want to I started to appreciate my like what I said, my uniqueness. Yeah, like the abundance that I have. I feel the power, and I because intersection identity for me, and I want to, I have an identity that I can, call myself and stand up in the power, and look for others. I want to, reach out to my community here who speak Chinese, because I couldn't speak English very well at that time. So I really want to meet people who can speak Chinese. That's the original, motivation to start, the OI Chinese, because I was invited by the OI founder to do the translation for the website into Chinese. I didn't think that I was the founder. I just volunteer to do the translation. Yeah, that's my journey. Yeah.
Wow, that was an amazing journey, like from a very young age to wow. There is no
Yeah.
other word to say that to respond to your story other than wow.
But it's this very common story in our community. So many of our my friends they raising raising one sex and grow up into another sex. They have to live into another sex because we just grow in that way. Yeah, naturally. Yeah.
Uh,
But
but
I still, so I
mm,
don't really identify with male or female. I decided to identify myself as myself, and that's all. I really hope people uh, do not need don't use category to or simple label to know a person. You should know that a person is more than a label. Right. It's more than a label. We can, for me, it's very interesting journey, because I started to look to look for myself actually since my 20s, like in university, because I don't know where I do fit. So because I'm a girl, looks like a man, and always kick out by the from the toilet, female toilets, and men cannot see me as a woman. So how can I have a heterosexual relationship? It's very hard, and homosexual is hard. It's very hard, at the time. So it's still not in the. It's still invisible at the time. So, but I recognize, okay, they are lesbian people who looks like me, and I think I'm a female, so I can be a lesbian. So I just join them. Then I discovered, because I was kicked out, right? 10 years after with my relationship, right? And then I discovered, okay, they are transgender. I didn't know that they are transgender before. And there's a transgender group in Taiwan. I just went to join them. And they asked me, hey, are you which one are you? Are you FTM or MTF? MTF is male to female, or female to male. Then I have no idea, because I kind of naturally change, from, I'm not sure, from what to what. I still feel maybe this is not my place, but I still feel happy to know that they are trans in the community in the world. It actually encouraged me because I know that they are human beings are diverse, right? So we have so many diversity in our or everything actually. Yeah, so it's
I have
interesting. Then asexual come, right? And in the past, we don't know about asexual. There's no word, right? Asexual just the new word recently, right? And I just feel maybe I can identify as asexual as well. So it's interesting. So I think I discover, I'm everything. Every label can be part of me. We don't need to be limited into this label or that label. You can change all the time, right?
so
That's I don't know. Is it too crazy?
talking about labels and words to use to express your identity. When you were translating for OII, you were saying that you didn't even know that you were the founder, and you just volunteered as a translator. So when you were translating for OII, did you have terms to express intersex, what intersex means, or the word for intersex in Chinese language?
Yes. Yeah. This is a key issue. Because intersex people certainly exist in the society. Yeah, for a long time, and in our history, actually, I think maybe 3,000 years ago, it's already recorded. Yeah, and yeah, actually, so we do have, because actually traditionally intersex people were recognized in the society and was discriminated. Maybe now in Taiwan it's not that serious because people have no idea about it that much. But in China, like in China, mainland China, we have a term which is called yin yang ren. It means black and white. To the yin yang is the black and white sign. Do you know that? The yin yang, right? The black and white sign is yin, because yin means female, yang means male, right? So
Yeah.
yin yang people in Chinese it means intersex. And this is a term has more than 2,000 years history. Yeah, since Tang Dynasty. Yeah, and so and in our newspaper in Taiwan, we still use that, and in China, actually, this term is still very common, known by people, and but it is a stigmatized one because it is kind of because it's different, right? It's different, and in our culture, in very long time ago, if a country discover an intersex people, then it symbolizes, there's something there will be something bad happen to the regime. Yeah. So actually, yeah, it is. We do have kind of culture there, but in different time, I think it has some different there are some changes. Yeah, and it becomes like okay, because we were considered as infertile, and so parents or families always think that well, this is a this is a bad sign, or it symbolizes that the family have done something bad in the past life, and it's a bad luck, and so this baby will be abandoned. Yeah, and also like this baby will be seen it's useless because we cannot reproduce. Yeah, so this is something that impression in the traditional society. But now I think in Taiwan, most people may have a question mark only. They doesn't have so much kind of negative understanding about that, because they are less brainwashed about this, like this kind of knowledge. Yeah, and I'm trying to like brainwash again people to make them understand. Hey, we are normal people.
So, in that case, do you think activism for you in Taiwan is easier than in China and other
Yeah, much more.
places?
Yeah, much more because Taiwan is a democratic country. That is one privilege because we had because we have lesbian, right? We have lesbian and gay movement here, and before that we have women's movement. So women's movement, if you are not a democratic country, you cannot have this kind of movement. So women's movement, gay and lesbian movement actually set up the foundation for intersex movement because I was kind of come from the lesbian community, and when I try to identify myself as a lesbian, and I also went to gay community, right? And also there were also gay men see me as a gay. And I think, okay, that's good because the gay and lesbian community really welcome me, so it kind of create a space for me, to be accepted. So I think this is a very good foundation uh for me in Taiwan to kind of gradually experience all different LGBT identity, and now asexual, non-binary. I feel I'm all of them. To build to build my uh, to build my activism here. But actually here, I think it's still very hard in one way because I don't really have a lot intersex people contact me from here in Taiwan. I think one possibility is the small population, so we don't have that many. One possibility is that during the 1950 to 2000, I think the surgery intersex baby are very common already. So most intersex baby were kind of had the surgery already, and they were hidden. They were hidden by the family about themselves. Yeah. So there are still not many intersex people here contact me, but I have a huge amount in front men in China because we speak Chinese, right? So I have so many contact from mainland China. Yeah. Uh, so it's interesting, right? Yeah, as most people
Yeah.
I contact are from China, but for me, my activism here is much more easier because I feel I almost have no negative response to me. Yeah, when I during these 12 years activism. Mm.
So you mentioned about intersex surgeries being performed on babies. Uh, so what is your take on that? I mean, we just wanted to know your viewpoint on that. You have the lived experience regarding that. What is your take?
Mm. Yes, actually, I had my surgery when I was 6. I did have a memory that I went to a hospital and lie down there for a long time and had surgery because I have no fear to go to hospital. So it actually didn't really give me too negative experience in my mind. So I forgot about it. I forget about it. But when I couldn't transform to be a woman, I just start to feel confused about who am I, right? And it takes a long time. So I think this is the reason that I have to see, I have to see so many pornography because I want to see who I am, and I couldn't see myself in any pornography. So I just couldn't identify with the either or, and I have no idea how to continue. And actually, this is something in my mind I think I didn't know for a long time. so so I think it's not good because it makes me very hard, for myself, right? And I doesn't really know how to fit in the society, and I think it's important that we should have a space for intersex people because yeah when For example, like me, I have a female ID, right? But I will, for the social norm, female should dress like female, right? And if I dress like female, I will pretty much look like a male who dress female clothes, and it actually make me myself, nervous. It made myself nervous because because it's not, it should be more normal, but for others it's not normal, right? So this is something that's very weird for me, and because I just couldn't, wear a dress, female dress, after I graduate from school. So this is something that I feel is very difficult. Yeah, and also like yeah, I think I'm still, in some kind of, brainwash, so I still feel, if I dress like female and looks like male with female dress, then I still feel not comfortable, but yeah, so uh yeah, so this, so the surgery actually, kind of limits us to identify ourselves. Yeah, because most people identify as male or female, but in my opinion, we should have an option for intersex people to identify themselves and without surgery, because the idea is that you have to be male or female. So you're not, and if you want to choose one, you have to look like that. But the surgery has some problem, because if like my clitoris was removed, and it's possible my sexual sensation was removed as well. And this is very horrible, right? If you have sexual desire but you couldn't feel it, right? This is a big issue for so many people, intersex people. So this is not only about the identity issue, but also about your sexual rights and your your right to to, it's a bodily autonomy, right? So I after I understand, okay, I had the surgery, I was kind of shocked, yeah, I was kind of shocked. And I think maybe if I keep my enlarged culture, I can go to join gay community. Then I have a possibility to be loved, by someone else. How nice was that? But I have no opportunity for that. Right. So I hope that I can keep my bodily integrity. Yeah, and I can keep the right to choose my gender identity that I feel fitting. Yeah, and if if it's based on sexual, if a person can choose nothing, that is good as well. Like non-binary, right? It's good
Yeah,
as well.
yeah,
So
true.
yeah, I think yeah. So it's about respect. Our body. We were born in this way, and we just the variation was not acknowledged, was not valued, and we should start to see the beauty of that. Start to see the beauty of that. Yeah, there are intersex people. All people we're born with healthy or with some disease. Yeah, some people do have some medical issue need to address, right? Just like everybody else. But not all intersex people are, should be categorized as a disease and should be fixed. It's wrong. For example, like me, my medical record actually recorded that okay, when I was born, I was a healthy baby girl, except I have ambiguous genital. And this is still true, right? Until now, because I have no serious health issue. Yeah, so I was naturally born in this way, and I hope that I can keep my bodily integrity, and I hope that people can have more space to accept the variation of human beings, biology, human being physical, yeah, how to say that? Different body, okay. And different body can have different kind of sexual relationship, or no sexual relationship. I should be all accepted, in my opinion. Yeah.
Wow. You just answered my next question as to what are your hopes for the intersex community, just like that. So my last question to you is, how would a layperson then help the intersex community, help the,
Hmm.
like, amplify, maybe, yeah, amplify is the word that I'm looking for, amplify this important work that
Yeah.
you are doing, the intersex organizations around the world are doing. How do you see laypersons helping this cause?
Okay. You know, I think lay people, I think the most important one is to discover, you know, to know that how abundance and human being is through understanding intersex people. And because in the past we were misunderstood, we were discriminated without any actually no reason, no good reason. I don't think this because we thought there are so few intersex people, and it must be something, must be a sign of something. Actually, it's a good sign, and you have to note that, and so you can uh, start to learn about intersex and about yourself. Maybe you one day you discover you are also intersex or not. Yeah, probably. And you don't need to be afraid of that. Yeah, because it's a natural phenomenon. Just it's just a variation. It's not. It's just abundance of human being, and we need people to learn intersex people in a very general way, in a very very normal way. We are just like people, and we shouldn't limit people in so many different friends. You know, male, female, man, woman only. Yeah, there are so many potential of us, including you, not only intersex people. Intersex people may actually maybe face most challenging that we need to explore our potential. But it's for me, I think, yeah, I did get the privilege to experience that, and I also feel that lay people can also try to open your eyes and experience that your beauty and your potential is limited, unlimited. Yeah.
Wow, wow, that was a good note to end on. So we have some comments in the chat box. So Ryan Silverio wishes happy Intersex Awareness Day. What are the
Thank you.
key issues that intersex issues? Yes, we did cover this in the beginning. So he's asking about the intersex issues and concerns faced by asexual persons. Then we have Ruth Ann asking about, oh, we did cover this as well. How can those of us who are not asexual respond to the type of questions that kind of lead to people asking whether something is wrong with genitalia or hormones without alienating intersex people? So they are asking how, if an asexual person is asked this question about what is wrong with what is wrong with the genitalia and hormones, how do we then respond as ace people without alienating intersex people? So that was the question that Ruth Ann is asking.
How
Like,
can those of us who are not asexual respond to that type of question without?
it's an interesting
Oh,
question.
it's interesting. Okay. Yeah, I think so uh, I think I am a special intersex people. I have to admit that not all intersex people like me, can see all this issue like what I shared today. This is something that I want to, I want to encourage my people to think, the way to think. Yeah. So I think for me, I know nothing. I am a person who will be of offended in nothing. Nothing can be offended me. If you call me anything, I okay, just follow you. That's fine. So I don't use pronoun. But not all intersex people are like this. So we still need to. So I think the best way is, uh, if you know someone, you need to know the person, uh, you know, from the person, not by the label, but the person might be brainwashed. So seriously, it's fine because we all have the brainwash. Yeah, uh, but you don't need to push the intersex person to think in my way or in your way. Yeah, you have to align with the person and try to help him to uh, release from all kinds of friends. So, but for this question, I think genital, there's no standard genital. There and the hormone actually will, vary. Our hormone level vary during our life. There are people like I have friend who has like XXY chromosome. They have very low both, estrogen and testosterone. And but they still have and XXY people always was assigned as a male, but they are lucky because they will develop breast. But but it terrified them. So this is natural for us, right? So XXY male will develop breast, but they still have penis, but they have very low testosterone and estrogen. So actually, people have different level of estrogen and testosterone. And when normal people, okay, when normal people, I don't know if it is normal people really exist. When normal people get old, grow old, your hormone will, also, become lesser, and everyone will become more neutral, you know. So there's nothing, nothing, standard. Standard is something, from statistic, but this is very limited view from scholars. And scholars actually they couldn't do, they don't know everything, right? Yeah, you have to know that. And so many knowledge
We
actually
have another.
within us. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry. You go ahead.
Yeah, I finished. Yeah, I think knowledge is within us. We need to, we don't need, we should not always believing what we were taught. Yeah, we have to think about it. Yeah.
True. We have another question by Divya. Or they are asking: are all intersex children compelled, forced to undergo surgery at a young age? That's the question they are asking.
It depends, it depends in the context of the country. But like in the Western country, or this is almost very kind of standard process for intersex baby. But in China or in India, yeah, maybe rural area, people have no knowledge about this. They don't think they don't see intersex as a disease, but they think this is something bad, right? They don't think, and people in rural area may not have idea that they should go to hospital, or there are great possibility that, for example, like in China, people feel they are different. They are so afraid to be disclosed, so they refuse. They are so afraid to go to doctors. And also the poverty issue, because if you are poor, you are lucky because you can afford surgery, so you can keep your bodily integrity. Yeah, and there are also countries have no doctors know anything about this, and have no idea how to to treat, do treatment. This is also good news. Yeah. So it depends on the context, and we are still under, exploring about this issue, because I still have no contact from all, from all Asian countries. I have no intersex contact from all Asian countries. So we need to explore it. I think it takes some time, quite a while to do this.
I have a question, actually, my own personal question. What is your take on the sex verification that happens in female presenting sports persons and also women athletes? Like, it happens in major sporting events like Olympics, Asian Games. So the sex, which it is only applicable to female athletes and female presenting athletes. So what is your take on that? And with that question, yeah, that's my personal question.
Yeah, this issue actually started when I was born, 1966, and there was a famous female athlete here in Taiwan who faced this issue. So she failed to join the Asian Games in Bangkok, and she did not try to fix herself, because it was a big news here in Taiwan. Everybody, was so fascinating about this female athlete, because she's awesome, right? And everybody thinks she can, bring a medal back to front again, and yeah. So everyone know at that time. Certainly, I didn't know. I was just born, right? But I saw that the news from the old newspaper. But even though she had surgery to remove, actually she had a surgery like me, remove her enlarged clitoris, and she still couldn't get. I don't know what's the reason. She didn't get permission to go to the game, and she was kind of also withdraw, totally from the career, as an athlete. It's a yeah. So it's unfair to her, right? It's unfair to her. She's a girl, but only with enlarged clitoris. Why? But why is why is this related with genital? I have no idea. I really have no idea. Right. Certainly, maybe not genital, but maybe it's more related to her hormone, right? Hormone issue. But I am living through, because I do have very high testosterone, right? But I'm not a good athlete at all. So a good athlete needs to have talent. You need to be talented, right, in this field, and also you need to have strong will to spend your energy time to get training, so you can become an excellent athlete to the level that high, right? The Olympic and the Asia Games. It's high level. It's very high level. Like I could not because I not only have high testosterone can make me become a super athlete in the game. So I think it's not fair, it's not fair to try to change our nature, because I know there are policies that ask the female athlete to suppress your testosterone level. Why? Because why this is very, very weird, because and why is only for female athletes? Like in male athletes, I think the testosterone level actually very very big range. Will you ask those have very high testosterone male to suppress their testosterone to lower? This is very weird, not fair at all. I have no idea what they are thinking about.
I'm with you, Haikur. I'm with you. I fail to understand what is the necessity to have the sex verification when somebody is saying, I have been brought up as a girl and I am a woman, and that should be enough. Why have a sex verification test, and why make the athlete go through the ordeal, and why not have it for men? Why is it only for female presenting people and female athletes? What is the even I have that question, actually. I'm with you on this.
Yeah, and okay, I believe there are female athletes who have a very fat breast. Why didn't they ask that you should make your breast bigger? This is very weird, right? You know, and actually my friend Intersex Asia coach Jeff from the Philippines, he was raised, he's similar to me. He was born as a girl and has enlarged clitoris, but he was lucky he didn't get the clitoris removed. So but he kind of grew into more masculine, right? And he's good at running. And when he had contests, he told me he borrowed her mother's bra to wear to show that she's a girl because she has no bra, no breast. And it's very hard for me. You know, I would in my life, although I'm a female, I never wear a bra in my life, and he has to wear a bra to run, you know, the competition and to express that she is a female, and it's very painful for him because he doesn't like it at all. This is a kind of driving, you know, driving a normal person to be crazy, right?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. It is crazy that they have this kind of verification
Yeah.
tests and also forcing people to do things that they don't need to do.
Yes,
Um,
this is very weird. It's just I don't know what they are thinking about. And this is something that so was such a history, you know, already. I
mm,
just couldn't understand. But you know, um, you know, culture, you know, like for example, like country like China, they use this weakness. I don't know how to say that. They actually inject the testosterone to female athletes when they are young, like teenagers, since they are teenagers. So they grow become like very masculine, but still female athletes. You know, but they didn't tell these athletes that they are injecting uh, testosterone to them. They just tell you that this is good for you, this is good for you. So they are creating, right, in this way they are creating um yeah, they are creating this kind of athletes, female athletes. And they did, you know, because they are good, right? They are good, so they will be. That's why they are were selected as the athlete for, you know, competition for the nation, right? And so they have talented, right? And they and the people want to uh, uh, win, right? Win for the country. So they have strong will because China, right? People are like that. So you know this also was used. This was used in this way, and this is very bad because it's not fair to these athletes. They were produced in this way.
on that baffling and crazy note about sex verification, we have come to an end of the session with Heike Chiu with you. It was a lovely session, Heike. It was very insightful, and it gave us food for thought about how we see ourselves and how we should love ourselves for who we are. And there were so many profound thoughts that he had put across, ideas that he had put across about how we can just be, how we are all in the spectrum anyway. So why bother about being normal or not normal? Why? We are all in the spectrum. And that was a beautiful, beautiful thought. And with that, uh, we have come to the end of the session. And thank you, Heike, for uh, accepting our invitation to be here with us. And it's an honor, it's a pleasure to have had this conversation with you. And we hope uh, in the future, in the recent future, more of your activism for human right, for intersex rights grow, and your voice, your cause is out there. It's more public. It's more, you bring more awareness. Our wishes are all with you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think you are also doing wonderful job. This is an important job. So let's work together. Move on together.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for a great session, Heike.
Thank you.
Sneha, you can stop streaming and recording now, please. Hope you're doing fine, Heike.
So I can leave, right?
Yes, you can. You can.
Okay. Thank you.
How do I stop the stream, Pragati? I don't seem to find the stream button.
I think only I can, and my system is hanging. I'm just gonna disconnect again and I'll do it. If you become the host, I think you'll be able to do it, but right now maybe not. I'll try to make you the host. If I can. Clearly, my system is not prepared for this. Anyway, so at 6 we have the next session, right?
Yes, at 6 we have the next session. Oh yes, everybody who is right now present, at 6 we have the next session. We have the keynote address by Lisa Mangaldas on consent and conversations around consent. So feel free to join back in at 6 o'clock. Definitely join if you want that conversation, and if you're interested in that conversation and you want to discuss, you have questions, feel free to join and come back at 6 o'clock.